Hello everyone. In our today's topic, I would like to discuss about India and Sri Lanka's Trincomalee tanker deal. What is India's importance? Basically, the strategic importance. Why India getting into a dead deal? Let's talk about this and talk about the Trincomalee's importance to us, the India, and why the India is so much interested to invest in such a dead deal. India is one of the peaceful country, as we all know, in the world, and the never been an aggressor to any country. But India always been ravaged by the outsider. That includes the Afghan, Kushans, Mughals, Persians, and the British Empire. After independence in 1947, India was invaded from north in 1962 by China, and China invaded our northern landmass and captured some of our land. Today we called it Aksai Chin. In today's time, they are trying to invade the India's northern landmass again. They are trying to invade our northern Ladakh sector, eastern Ladakh sector. They are trying to invade our eastern Arunachal Pradesh. They are also trying to invade our Sikkim. So these are the things that China is doing right now. And they are trying to encircle India by using the maritime routes. They are trying to encircle the India's Indian Ocean region. So today's colonial Chinese mindset is almost equal to the European colonial mindsets. The old colonies invaded the world in the name of the modern investment. Now China invading using the same practice. They are giving the loans to the other nations, those who are economically vulnerable. And in the name of the infrastructures and the development, they captured the strategic ports, railways, when those countries defaulted on the loan. The China is doing it. China is trying to capture the Seychelles Island. China is trying to capture some of the ports in the Bangladesh. They are trying to capture some of the ports in the Sri Lanka. They are already in the Pakistan. So these are the things they are doing in today's time. So in Sri Lanka, they gave the loan to the Sri Lanka, and Sri Lanka is not an economically stable country. They are too much vulnerable. They failed to pay or repay the loans. So what they did, what China did, China took the 80% stake of the Hambantota port, which is in the southern part of the Sri Lanka, for 99 years. China is trying to build the city which will going to help the Hambantota port to be an export hub or import hub for the eastern and the western countries, through which the China trying to deal with economically. So these are the things today China is doing. But the New Delhi was not happy with that. New Delhi was not happy with the Sri Lanka's decisions to give the 80% of the Hambantota port to the Chinese for 99 years, because Sri Lanka is a strategically important country in the Indian Ocean region and too near to the India's southern coast, and the India dominated the Indian Ocean region. That is the only country that dominated the Indian Ocean region because of the India's geographical structures. India's geographical structures, it gives the India the strategic importance in the Indian Ocean region. What the China is doing to capture that geographical strategy? Because the China using the string of pearls policy. Why they are doing the string of pearls policy? Because what is string of pearls? Basically, it is geopolitical theory of China to avoid the Malacca choke point. They are trying to explore the alternative route for their maximum oil import from the Persian Gulf. What they are trying to do, they are trying to build the ports in the Gwadar, which is in the Pakistan. They are already in the Chittagong. They are trying to build the port in the Chittagong. They are already in the Hambantota. But the Hambantota is a failed project. It's a misery for the Chinese. And what is Malacca choke point? Malacca is a strait between the Indonesia and the Malaysia, and that is the main business route through which the Chinese do the oil import business, and maximum oil imports is being done through that route for the Chinese economy. If that point will going to be get choked by the Indian Navy by using the Andaman and the Nicobar Island and using the strategic aircraft carrier, then it will be a disaster for the Chinese economy. So China is trying to explore the other options. What they are trying to explore? They are trying to explore the Arctic regions, because they think the Arctic ice will going to get melt, and they are trying to build the icebreakers right now. So they are trying to explore the Arctic region, and they are already invested in the Gwadar, and from the Gwadar to the Jinjian, from Jinjian to the eastern coast of the China. But it is a very expensive project. They have already spent the $45 billion, but that project is nowhere to go. It is already stalled in the Pakistan. So these kind of projects, ambitious project the China is trying to do. The Belt and Road Initiative, that is an ambitious project. They have already invested billions of dollars without any results. They have invested in the countries like Kenya, in the countries like Ethiopia. So these are these deals are failed deal. They are importing the oil from the Angola. They are importing the oil from the Gulf countries and the Nigeria, but those oil has to go through that Malacca choke point. But the Arctic Ocean region and the Gwadar is not an option. They have to go through the Malacca choke point, because that is the shortest route. So that is why the India investing in Trincomalee, because India know the importance of the Trincomalee, and the Trincomalee is the oil tanker farms, and India is investing, which is Trincomalee is an coveted project that has remained controversial for decades, and the India is trying to kill the Chinese influence in the Indian Ocean region, and the India knows how to kill it. That is why India is Trincomalee. India is trying to explore her own export and the import, her import and the export with her friendly countries in the east and the west. And the next thing we will going to discuss the history of India's interest in the Trincomalee, why we are calling it a great project. The development of the Trincomalee oil tank has been recurring talking point in the India Sri Lanka relation since the 1987, and the signed by the and the, it was signed in the India Sri Lanka Accord, and the signed by then Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi and the Sri Lankan President Jayawardene. Since then, it was in the cool chamber. Nothing really took off until 2003, when the Indian Oil Corporation set up an Lankan Indian Oil Corporation, a Sri Lankan subsidiary. But again the agreement remained dormant for the years until the Sirisena and the Vichkarminsinghe administration tried to revisit it through the 2017 MOU. And now in 2021, it is again out of the cold storage. The new agreement allowing the Sri Lanka Indian Oil Corporations to run the 99 storage tanks southern and the eastern coast of the Trincomalee, and the capacity of each tanker is 12,000 kiloliter, and the Indian Oil Corporation still operating the 15 oil tanks over there, and the deadlock end after the 16 months of long negotiations with the Sri Lanka and the Indian authority. India is trying to take Sri Lanka actually offered the India the Trincomalee airport. They actually offered the Hambantota airport, and these offers put into a deaf ear, because these are the ports are not profit recurring projects. So India told the Sri Lanka that why don't you deal with us in the tanker storage. So this is the profit thing. We are not going to invest, the India will not going to invest in such projects, those who will not going to incur any profit. The profit is main thing for the economy. To run the country's economy, you need to have some money. So now next is the history behind the Trincomalee. What is the historical background behind the Trincomalee? What what is all about, what is its importance? Because the Trincomalee harbor is the second deepest natural harbor of the world after the Sydney harbor. The British actually founded that facility after the World War I in 1930s as a strategic oil storage point to supply the oil to the Far East colonies. So to supply the oil Far East colonies, British actually founded it. It was the logistic stations of the World War II, but it was abandoned after 1948 when the Sri Lanka got independence from British. So it has no value after the 1948. Then what happened? Then why suddenly India get into it? That is the point. That point is what is the strategic importance, significance of the Trincomalee, and the India. What is the India trying to do in the Trincomalee? The most strategically significance or importance is the demography. The Trincomalee, home of the 3.7 million Muslim Tamils and the Sinhali people, and it is important trade route. Very important trade route. Trincomalee remains the spotlight as a potential transit point for international trade routes. And the priority colony India, which is known as a strategic interest there in the internet, because of it is being an international trade route, it has some strategic importance for India because India is a one of the biggest economy in the world. As the India's geostrategic viewpoint, the Trincomalee is an important viewpoint to the southern Hambantota port backed by the substantially by the China, and it is a counter to the China. China have already invested in Hambantota, so India is going to invest in the Trincomalee, Hambantota in the south, Trincomalee in the north. And the India's geostrategic viewpoint, Trincomalee is then important. The Trincomalee emerged as a favorite destination for the surfers around the world. In India can use its influence to develop that town as an tourism hub of the world for the Sri Lanka. So India can gather some respect from the Sri Lankan or the Sinhali peoples by developing the town towards the world class. But there are some hurdles. What are those hurdles? Because the India backed projects always face the resistance from the nationalist majority Sinhali people. They are more intended and they feel good with the Chinese and the Americans peoples. And during the Sri Lankan civil war, Sri Lanka was very suspicious about India. And in the conclusions, I can only say that, but only conclusions is that it is a strategic importance in the Indian Ocean. Sri Lanka have some strategic importance in the Indian Ocean region. They showed not to be carried away with the money because they are most important resources as the strategic depth being an island nations. India also have to play its card carefully as we are paying the price of the British blunders. The British has made the blunders by dividing the country, by dividing the races on the basis of caste, creed, and the peoples. And we are paying that. The Indians are paying that. Bangladeshis are paying that. Sri Lankas are paying that, and the Pakistan is already victim of the separations. So we have to understand each other and the each other mutual interest in the region. That is very important. We have to help each other for our economic benefit, for the economic benefit for the people of the Sri Lanka and the people of the India. That is very important because the economy comes first, then everything comes. And now the questions. Our today's questions is what is the strategic importance port India acquired in Oman? The first option is Sultan Qaboos Port. Second option is Salah Port. Third option is Al Dukam Port. Fourth option is Ports of Kashab. And the fifth option is Sohar Port. I have also gave you the pictures. You can identify your answer by looking at the pictures. And I also gave you an questions related to the UPSC Union Public Service Commissions. If someone wants to send me your answer, then send me to my email address that I already have gave to you. And the question is, what is India's concern in the Indian Ocean region other than China? Please elaborate. Please elaborate the importance of the Indian Ocean regions, India's concern in the Indian Ocean. Thank you very much.